Guys, hello. Just wait and see how this starts to go live. Hello, yeah. Good afternoon. It's a funny old time right now, so I'm not expecting to get too many people popping on, to be honest. But it's the first chance I've had all day, so I'm popping on just to have a quick chat with you about meditation. Been meaning to do this for a few days actually. It's been something that's been coming up for a little while with people that I work with and in circles that I hold, and particularly in the classes that I teach, meditation classes that I teach, and that is this common theme of struggle when it comes to meditation. So jump on and say hello if you're watching. If you're catching the replay later, pop a little hashtag replay underneath, give me a comment. But yeah, struggling with meditation is a really, really common thing. And so many people come and speak to me and say they can't meditate. And I think I've probably mentioned this 100 times before on here, but everybody can meditate. Everybody. If you can breathe, you can meditate. It is really that simple. You can make it really, really complicated, or you can make it really, really simple. It is entirely up to you. But everybody can meditate. So the first thing that people like, the first wall that people come up against, I think, in my experience when talking to people and teaching people about meditation, is this expectation. We have this expectation of what meditation should be for us and what we should get out of it. And often our expectation of meditation is that we're going to get some kind of grand transcendence of human experience, or we're going to have some mystic revelation. We go into meditation with the intention to have a particular experience, to speak to the divine, to speak to spirit, to speak to our guides, to learn something, to receive a message, to have something wonderful and special happen. And lots of people go into a meditative state or go into a meditative practice expecting this, with the expectation that this is what they're going to receive, particularly if you've got people around you that are talking about the things that come up for them when they meditate, and the things that they see in their meditation or that they experience in their meditation. And it's frustrating as hell when you're that person that not only struggles to quiet the mind enough to simply breathe for a few minutes, but also if you, and this gets said to me all the time as well, if you can't see anything. And that's one of the things that we expect to see things in meditation. The biggest problem with all of this is that it's completely defeating the purpose of what meditation is for. We're completely avoiding the principle of meditation. We're bypassing exactly what meditation is in order to reach a desired outcome, which is what we do in life all the time. It's what we do in life all the time. We externalize our desires all the friggin' time. We put things out there for us to need, for us to want, for us to have. When I experience this, I'll be happier. When I get this, I'll be happier. When I have that thing, when I get to that state, when I've done that bit, then I'll be happier. We create this timeline with these benchmarks that we're trying to hit. Like, when I get here, I will be this. When I have achieved this, then I'll be this. Then I'll be a better person. Then I'll be a happier person. Then I'll be a more complete person. And it's all nonsense. You are a complete person. You are enlightened as you are here in this moment right now. Nobody is more enlightened than you. Nobody has a better ability to meditate, to connect with spirit, to do any of that stuff. None of it is external to you. It's all within you. You're capable of all of it right here, right now, in this moment. And this is where the frustration comes in, because I say something like that to you, and hi Jem, hello lovely. I say something like that, and people go, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's not for me. I can't do it. Because you're expecting an outcome. So the entire principle of meditation, the entire purpose of meditation, the reason that we meditate, the whole thing is to bring connection and alignment back to the mind, the body, and the spirit. Okay, this is the purpose of meditation in a nutshell. Its complete purpose is to realign the body, the mind, and the spirit. What we're trying to do when we meditate is to bring these three things into one place, and to bring these three things into one whole. We spend our entire lives 90% of the time in our mind, not in our body, not in our spirit, not connected to our spirit, not connected to our body, in our mind, in our head. We spend 90% of our lives in our head. We entirely disregard the body until we injure it, until we hurt it, until we cause it disease, until we punish it in some way, until we cause a problem for it in some way, and then it cries out to us in some manner with disease, with pain, with uncomfortableness, with all these things, and then we suddenly become aware of the body. And we haven't been aware of the body, we've disregarded the body, we've been in our head too much. We're definitely not connected to spirit, because if we're not connected to the body, we can't be connected to spirit. Like, we've skipped the whole thing. And we live in our heads, we live in our minds. 90% of our lives is spent in the mind, in the thoughts, in the chatter, in the thinking processes, in the world that we've created and the stories that we've created in our own head, in our narrative, because of the experiences that we've had and the narratives that we've given ourselves, and the traumas and the blessings that we've received in like both ways. We live up in here. We think about everything all the time. We overthink. We contemplate, we worry, we stress, we live in our heads all the time. We don't really spend any real amount of time in the body, or in the spirit, or with spirit, with your soul, with your soul's connection. So a few things happen, and this is why we need meditation. One of the things that happens is, and this maybe not necessarily a reason to need meditation, but meditation certainly helps. One of the things that happens is the body starts to cry out because it wants attention. The body starts to cry out, causing pain and discomfort and disease, because you're not acknowledging the body and you're not honouring the body, the physical human body. This thing, this material thing of tissue and bone and muscle that carts you around all day, every day, that carries you from incarnation to death, this thing that you live within, we don't honour it. We disregard it. Because honouring it seems, it's just a bit, isn't it? It's like, how do I do that? What do I do? What do I do with that? We're not aware of how to do it. You could say exercise is a really good way of honouring the body, eating healthily and feeding it like nutritious food, making sure that you look after it, like do yoga, move your body. But when you move your body, do it mindfully, be in the body, be present with the body. This is one thing that meditation does. Okay, it's not a form of exercise. It's not going to strengthen the physical body in the way that we should be honouring the body, but it is certainly going to bring our attention to it. We're going to reconnect with it, and that's one of the purposes of meditation, to reconnect with your body that is tired, is physically tired, it's exhausted, it's drained, it's aching, it's hurting. It wants you to love it. It wants you to look after it. Meditation is a way of connecting with that to find out what's coming up for you within the body. So that's one thing. And the other is soul, to connect with soul. So your soul is crying out to you to listen, to listen to what it needs. What ways does that show itself? It shows itself in in a kind of disinterest in life, a kind of a disenchantment with the world and with life and with people, a sense of real deep dissatisfaction with our lives, with the things that we do. This lack of joy, a lack of peace, a lack of love for ourselves. All these things are indication that soul is not getting listened to, because when we listen to the soul, when we pay attention to the soul, we connect with the soul, then we start to find joy and we find peace and we find love, and we pivot our lives in order to follow our soul's calling and our soul's journey. This is another thing that meditation can help us connect with. So the purpose of meditation, aside from everything else, aside from all the expectations of having a vision, of transcending the human experience, of seeing or receiving some grand message, is a byproduct of the initial purpose. Yes, you can. Of course you can get message from spirit, from soul. Of course you can have an amazing, a magical, a mystical experience in meditation. Yeah, you can. And yes, you will. But before you can get there, you have to form this connection between the mind, the body and the spirit all in one go. The mind, the body and the soul has to come together in order for that to be achieved. And if you can't even, if you're stumbling over that first block, that first just to be still, just to breathe, none of the other things are going to come after it, and you're going to be treading water or swimming against the tide, trying to achieve something that is external to you. Once again, it's external again, it's outside of your experience again. Believing that that's what you want to achieve is external to you. What you need to pay more attention to is what's internal to you, what's now, what's in the moment, what is the process of just being. Most people struggle with the stillness of meditation, literally being still. And that is because we are in the mind. That is because we spend too much time in the mind. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be doing and active and go. And our mind, even when we sit still, we distract ourselves during the day with activities, with things that we need to do, with all these tasks. And then when we sit still, we don't even sit still when we sit still. So when you come home at the end of the day and you sit down and that's your chill out, and that's when you sit and you go, oh, I'm done for the day, and you sit still, you put the telly on, you scroll through your phone, you listen to music. You don't even switch off when you switch off. You don't even sit still when you sit still. You're still distracting yourself. You're still using something to keep the mind occupied. The mind is occupied by the telly, or it's occupied by the phone, it's occupied by Facebook, or it's occupied by the music that you're listening to. The mind is still occupied. We need to find the stillness in the mind and the body in order for those messages to come, in order for that stuff, that experience that you want to have to come forward. You need to be comfortable with silence. You need to be comfortable with the silence of your body and the silence of your mind and the silence of and the stillness of it all. And that takes a little time, that takes a little practice. It's not easy to do when you're not used to it. And this is when most people sit down in meditation. They sit down to try and meditate and they can't sit still for 5 minutes. And their mind starts to go, all these thoughts pop in, what they got to get from the grocery shop tomorrow, and have they put another wash load on? Did they get that last load out of the washing machine? Did they dust the coffee table? Like all these things, what they've got to do for work. Did I remember to reply to that email? All these things pop into the head, pop into your mind, because your mind's not used to being still, it's not used to being quiet. And in order to get past all of that, particularly when life is busy, particularly when we've got a lot going on, in order to get past all that, the purpose of meditation is to have that and still be still. The purpose of meditation is to practice experiencing that and still finding the calm and still finding the stillness, still finding the quiet in amongst the busyness, the distraction, the day. And a way to do that, I promise you tips actually, I said in the description that I was going to give you tips. A way to do that is to acknowledge the thoughts. Don't get frustrated with them. Don't get angry. Anger is the first killer of a meditation. Anger and frustration is the first thing that will kill your meditation practice if you allow yourself to feel frustrated or to feel angry. It's okay if your mind starts to go 100 miles a minute. It's okay if you start to think about all these things instead of focusing on the breath. It's normal. It's exactly why you need to be sat still breathing. It's exactly why you need to practice meditation. It's the reason that you're there. It's the reason that you've come to this practice, because your mind cannot be still. So yeah, acknowledge it, thank it, thank your mind, right? Your mind, this egoic mind that's trying to remind you of things, that's trying to keep you busy and keep you occupied and keep you distracted. It's not trying to hurt you. It's not trying to hinder your spiritual experience. It's not out there to get you. It's not trying to do anything to you other than help you. This is your ego is your own little helper. It's trying to protect and help you all the time. So thank it. Thank you for the reminder. I'll think about that later. Literally talk to your mind like it's another person, like it's a thing into and on of itself. Just say to it, thank you for the reminder. I'll put that to one side for now, and then come back to the breath. Another thing that I teach people in class, I teach people in the meditation classes, and I've written in blog posts as well, is that if you struggle to come to the breath, because when we sit in, hi Tasha, hello darling, when we sit in stillness and we bring our attention to the breath, right? So we bring our attention to the breathing, we bring our attention to the sensation of the breathing in, how that feels, the sensation of the breath hitting the throat, the rise and fall of the chest, the expansion of the ribs, the stretch of the back body. We bring our attention to all these physical things. The purpose of that is to call you into your body, to call you into your physical body. Like I said earlier, we're trying to realign the body, the mind and the soul. So to call yourself into the body by paying attention to the physical sensation of the simplest act in the world, to breathe, to just breathe. It is the most magical thing that you can do. It keeps you alive, and it is the most simple thing in the world, because it's the one thing that you're doing constantly and consistently from the minute that you're born until the minute that you leave this plane, is breathe. Right? Is literally the most magical thing in the world, breath. And you can use it in your meditation. It's there for you to use in your meditation. But some people struggle because it's so simple, because it's such an easy thing to do. Some people really struggle with maintaining that, calling yourself back to the breath and calling yourself back to the inhale and the exhale. So something that I teach my students in my meditation classes is, instead of focusing on the breath, instead of bringing your attention to the breath, bring your attention to the sensation of your heart beating. That takes a little bit more of you. It takes a little bit more intention. It takes a little bit more of coming into your body. It calls you into your body a little bit deeper than just the breathing. It kind of brings the intention home. It brings you into center, into the absolute center, into your heart center. So sit in silence, sit and breathe, and bring your attention to the sensation of your heartbeat, and you will be able to feel it. You will be able to feel it. And then that calling yourself back to the very, very center of you is actually the most perfect way that you can bring yourself into the body, because your heart is beating and you can feel your heart beating, and you know that you're alive and you're existing and you're present and that you're here because your heart is beating. And that's just a beautiful thing to experience anyway. Stop getting frustrated, stop getting angry with the thoughts that come in to distract you from your meditation. They serve a purpose, right? They're not trying to hinder you, they're there to help, but they are also, it's kind of the point of meditating, to have those thoughts, to get past those thoughts, to get past that frustration, to get past that distraction. That's the purpose of it. When you start to practice more, when you start to connect with the practice more, when you start to fall into this deep love for meditation, when it starts to quieten the mind, and let's not forget, aside from all the spiritual benefits of meditation, it's really, really beneficial to the body anyway. It just calms anxiety, it soothes the nervous system, it lowers your blood pressure. It helps with anxiety and stress. When your body is flushed with stress chemicals, it helps your body to release the stress chemicals. It gives you the happy hormones. It gives you a boost of happy hormones, serotonin and dopamine in the brain. When you can do something like this, I get the two the wrong way around. Which one's the reward chemical? Because you probably wouldn't get the reward chemical in the brain unless you celebrate yourself after a successful meditation practice. And why shouldn't you? Absolutely do that. Let's get a hit of the reward chemical as well. But yeah, it's super beneficial for the body in the physical sense, in the what we can prove with science sense. It's really, really good for mental health. It's really, really good for it's just good for you, right? Just do it. Even if you don't believe in the spiritual stuff, it's just good for you. Just sit and breathe. And actually, when I teach, I tell people the beginning of my meditation classes, we meet on a Monday evening. If anybody wants to come and join us, everybody's welcome. We meet on a Monday evening, from 7 till 8 at Gunton Estate Community Hall. It's only £7. Bring a pillow, bring a cushion. We begin each session with a breathing practice, with a breath technique, to call ourselves present, to call ourselves centered, and we breathe together. And then once we've done that, then we'll go into a guided meditation. But the breathing is enough, and I say this all the time to the guys before they leave. Like, that's enough. If you don't have time to meditate every day, or if you don't find the space to meditate every day, that's enough. Right, to breathe for 5 minutes, to just sit down and take some deep breaths, to sit in stillness, to sit in quiet, take some deep breaths and bring your attention to the breath. Right, to do that for 5 minutes every day will see enormous benefit. You'll see enormous benefit, I promise. And then you might find that you can deepen the practice and you can fall in love with it a little bit more, and then you can do the rest of it. You can do longer. You can sit in stillness for longer than 5 minutes. You can sit and breathe for longer than a couple of minutes. And then when you've kind of I don't want to make it an external practice, as the whole point is that things shouldn't be external to you. What I want to say is that when you have found a sense of comfort and a sense of kind of place in meditation, when you found this sense of actually it is what it is, right? It's about breathing. It's about bringing yourself home to yourself. It's about sitting in stillness. It's about sitting in the quiet. It's about being still with the body and calling in the body, the mind and the soul. When we've found kind of a sense of comfort with that, and we can just accept it and we can just let that be what that is, and use meditation for its purpose, which is to realign those three bodies, that's when you'll start receiving those messages. That's when you'll start getting those things that come to you. And don't ever expect it to be grand, mysterious, or particularly lucid vision, right? It's going to be thoughts. It's going to be vague. It's going to be imagery. It's going to be symbolism. It's going to be really, to begin with, it's going to be really jigsaw puzzly, and it's going to be a struggle. And that is something that I help with in my meditation classes as well. We do talk about the symbolism. We do talk about the symbolism, and we talk about the imagery that comes up, and we talk about the process of and the differences between like what would be envisaged and what would be thought. We talk about that. So we do try, and afterwards at the end of the session, we do try and pull a little clarity out of the fog, and I do try and help people guide them with what they do experience in their meditation. So yeah, but that comes once we find ourselves in love with the process of just being in a meditation. So yeah, I'm going to go now because it's 3:20, and very, very soon my children will come bombarding themselves through the door. The dogs will start going mental. The kids will start shouting at each other because that's what kids do. And then I have to go to my son's parents' evening, so fun and games for me. I just wanted to talk about that and talk into that, and hopefully it resonates with some people. Let me know if it does. Let me know if anything I've said has hit you in that heart space, has made you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Let me know, drop a comment, and join us on a Monday evening if you want to. We have plenty of space. We have all the space. Come and if you're scared, like sneak in the door and sit at the back. Like, no pressure, and no pressure to share, no pressure to have any kind of experience, no pressure to do anything other than be there with us. I'm about to buy a crystal to meditate with. Yeah, crystals are really, really good for that, because actually they can help with the thoughts. They can help with quieting the mind chatter. So like blue lace agate or amethyst, or amazonite, really, really good for calming the mind and calming the nervous system. So they can really help with the stillness. So yeah, go for that. Right. I love you all, and let me know if you're catching the replay, and I'll see you all later.